mode. Match is starting.
And we're going to have to see how it goes as the first round is about to get started here, guys. Welcome once again to the ESL Weekly Cup number 18. This is the first game for today. We are in the round of 8 right now, and it's going to be Erotic, Solitude, Legends spawning over here on the red side, going up against Cheese Mode on the blue side. This is a best of 3. First team to 2 games will win, and as the gates are opened up, let's open up our maps and check out the splits. Coming directly out of the gate, we are going to see the Guardian Freylina crossing over onto the red side, heading towards the mine at the moment. However, is going to redirect over to middle now. There was a bit of crossplay from Guiletta, but he since fell back over to his team's home node, and they are now going to make their way up to middle too. But you will have to note that Kaon Zork, the Guardian for the red team, is not actually on his way over there. Anything we could be lagging on server, but I don't think we are. We actually saw the Warrior Blueberry, who is running a tanky Hambo, up onto that node instead, and is going to be taking on Freylina. And now we are seeing the rest of people going up onto the mid fight to engage onto that.
Interesting is that normally they'd have Rom pushing far very regularly, but it seems like he's not doing that now. Rather, they're going in for the team fight, and Rom is just training the Necromancer heavy. This is an interesting difference in tactics. Unfortunately, looks like the Necro is caught and gonna get smacked out, so it worked out well for them.
And as you can see right now, Rom and Azron are going to be able to take down Eternal Leia, taking him out of the match and getting the first kill for this game in favor of the Cheese Mode. But we did actually think we saw Shadowfish coming out of that, or he canceled Stomp. I think we actually saw cancel Stomp, apologies. But again, he is just going to get bleeded out over the next few seconds anyway. And it looks like for the timing that Cheese Mode does have a fairly solid grasp of this team fight, but overall it's still pretty spread out. Things could turn around if we see more red team reinforcements coming into play, but I think for the time being it is looking like it's in Cheese Mode's favor. And as a retaliatory action, we are going to see Guiletta de Leon leaving that middle fight, and he's going to make his way over here to the Henge, where he should be able to get a decap, but we're also going to be seeing Azron on his way, and he may just be able to stop that in time to get a decap, but he actually leaped the wrong way there with Sword 2, and as such, that is going to cost him.
Beautiful leap.
It is going to cost him the decap there. Nicely done, indeed, there by Guiletta. So again, the current scores are 33 to 63. Cheese Mode has a very small advantage, but overall, things could change very quickly, as we're still within the first few minutes of the game here.
On mine, we have a Necromancer versus the Pistol Whip Thief. Now, if the Necromancer hits Signal of Spite, he's won. That's basically this matchup. Hit Signal of Spite and you win. But it's not. That's not an easy task. It's like, so we'll have to see if he'll actually hit that.
Did manage to interrupt the heal though. Oh, and he gets it.
Outplayed.
And as you're gonna see,
so this fight is won. I'm going to get Henge.
As you're going to see, Sizer will get melted out there. Will get thrown down. He's actually keeping himself just alive, and again, the Condies are going to go through him, and there he goes down. And as we go back over here to the Henge now, we can see that Guiletta as well as Azron are still duking it out. Guiletta's a little bit low, but I think actually, yeah, Guiletta actually just took down Azron. There is the Spirit out in play, but he should stay alive long enough for the kill to go off onto Azron there. Guiletta should be able to execute that and get solid grasp now of the Henge point, allowing ESL to take control of both of the side points and allow them to start their way back towards taking a lead. Meanwhile, over here in the middle, Cheese Mode has managed to get a cap. Who was it that was on the node for so long over here? We did have Ilvinia over here on the node itself. It was sitting here for a fairly long amount of time. However, Blue Team was finally able to get the cap there, and they now have a staging ground to move out from, which they are going to choose to move back over to the Henge point now and fight for control of that.
So it appears that Azron, when he lost his 1v1 versus the Thief there, he also used the Spirit, which puts them in a really poor position right now. There were 2 major misplays to them there, with Sizer losing that 1v1, and then also Azron losing it with Spirit. So at this point, ESL has a very heavy momentum going in. Like the next fight, the opponent is not going to have the Spirit. So they have a lot going for them right now. And then there's Rom 1v1 in Necro mid. I think this is going to work out well. Hopefully ESL doesn't overextend themselves, which is what they seem to be doing now.
Yeah, indeed. They have a lot of people pushing onto that far node, and again, they have lost quite a few people over here, too. They had Guiletta going down. I think one person did get knocked out a couple seconds ago. I believe it was the Ranger Ilvinia. Could be wrong on that one, though. Guiletta had gone down a few moments ago, but is now back up in play, currently trying to knock out Sizer. Looks like he's winning that 1v1, but now is going to re-engage on here, get Sizer very low, might manage to take him down. Again, Guiletta is playing the SD Thief with the assistance of, apologies there, Barry will manage to take Sizer into the downstate, and now we're seeing Cluster Bomb spam coming in here in order to keep Sizer in the downstate. That'll be successful, and they will eliminate Sizer. So it was looking a little bit rough there for ESL for a couple seconds, but I think they managed to piece things back together, and they are going to be able to hold on to this side node now.
There was a stomp of... Yeah, the Necromancer pushing in to fight... The Necromancer should ideally try to roam in the team fights rather than 1v1ing a Condi Warrior, which is essentially the opposite, extremely powerful in skirmishes. So this misrotation is putting them... they're going to be at a disadvantage soon, because they're losing mid pretty heavy, and then Cheese Mode can push to another node. good on advantage.
And we're seeing red team too. Again, ESL is pushing heavily into this. Now, they may be able to take it, but it could be tough as well. Because again, we did see Alvinia going down. Rom will go for the stomp, and a nice shatter feed from Guiletta there will stop them from happening. Double res will come off there from members of ESL. Get Alvinia back up into play and keep the fight going. And you will actually note too how devoted at the moment it does seem that ESL is committed to their side caps. They kind of pulled the extra force they did have on middle, just leaving it as a 2v2 for the time being in order to keep it decap. They got their bunker guardian there, and they got a spirit ranger there, so they got a lot of support, and they probably are going to be able to keep this stalemated for like an indefinite amount of time. Meanwhile, they sent the rest of their forces over here to the mine, where I really believe they do want to push in heavy and try to take control of these nodes, because again, their strategy, and it has in the past as well, has relied heavily on side node tactics, and you can see it plays of that right now. Size was once again taken down by Guiletta. Rom, as well as the other member of CM that is over here as well, Azron, are also getting very low, but at the same time, we do have some low members from ESL too. Guiletta is getting a pretty low here. In addition to that, we also see Blueberry getting a little bit low here too, so things could turn around either way over the next few seconds if something crazy happens.
There's 3 down. What are you talking about? How is this getting turned?
Well, I don't know. I'm sorry. I miscalled.
Is Ranger downstate buffed somehow? Maybe it is, because Azron's resting himself.
Azron is resing himself, though. Rom will vengeance. Hold on. I think he can get Azron back up.
What? Nerf downstate.
He'll get Azron back up and keep the fight going.
This is actually not good, though, because right now they're losing their mid fight, and they've already obviously lost this fight here too, which means they're essentially just extending the time where ESL has the superior cap points. And I mean, if ESL got the option to delay this forever, they'd take it because it's a win, right?
Yeah.
So they have an advantage on mid, and they have an advantage. Yeah, sides are respawning, getting henge though, but this is still going in the favor of ESL. Like, there's no way they'd be unhappy about this position.
And as we go back over, checking out some of the other fights that are going on, it's Blueberry versus Azron over here on the mine. Helsleth, who do you think is going to take this one?
Blueberry versus Azron? Well, wait, why did they put into... obviously, I think Blueberry should have an advantage there. Azron doesn't have his spirit, he used it previously. Let's see Blueberry's cooldowns for a moment.
He's got Endure Pain up ready to go. He's going to have balance sets coming up and right now.
Yeah, there's no spirits and such, so the Warrior does have a pretty decent advantage here. But then Rom is coming in, so maybe not. It's very weird. Why did the Necro leave? Because the Necro could have done like 3 spells. Give me a moment.
No. Is your phone ringing?
Yeah, I don't know about it. Did you see that? I'm getting fired to do ESL casts.
As we go back over here to the henge too, we can see that Guiletta De Leon has evacuated from the point. Zapdos did come in. Guiletta did not want to 1v1 that opponent there and is instead going to move back over to the mine fight, which again is going back into full swing. We had Blueberry in the downstate. I believe we had a blue member in the downstate too, but they got him rezzed up a couple seconds ago, so this fight is still in full swing with no one having a serious advantage for the timing. But considering a couple things is red team's home node, and their strategy does seem to be mainly focused on side nodes, it should be a fairly strong fight for ESL. But with Eternal going down, the elimination of that is really going to start to hurt them again, as they are going to lose a lot of Connie pressure with the elimination of the Necromancer.
The Necromancer got stomped out. He was caught in a very poor position. Often you want to stay around the high grounds as the Necromancer, especially around this point, which would be the bridge in the cave-ish part of the mine. But he was behind that little scrap of metal, and he just got caught and smacked.
And as we continue back on with this fight as well, we do have to check out what's going on over here at the henge. Guiletta did want to try to sneak in their gun, but again, saw Zapdos and just pulled it back.
He's keeping him around henge, because if he stands on mid, that means Zapdos can push in. But this way, if Zapdos pushes to mid, Guiletta can push onto henge. And what this would mean is that they can just trade caps, and Guiletta will get it faster, which is much better than having to 1v1 a Warrior on point. However, there was a respawn from Rom, which means that Guiletta couldn't really stay around. But this is still working well, because Zapdos pushed in, and now he's being 2v1, so this worked against CM's favor. They tried to be sneaky, but since they had already won mine, ESL that is, they could push into mid. And this is a very particular bad position for CM. They need to get someone who can reliably win their 1v1. See, this is what makes CM so strong, is that often Rom has been able to push far and win the 1v1, and then all the rotation is kind of based on that. Like, they have this super tanky composition that can essentially, at the very least, hold every single fight. And then when they win far, if you try to get people there, they'll rotate their Guardian, for example. And then they have that ultra-sustained, really strong 2v2, and they'll just start splitting up all around the map, and they'll just dominate you. But if they can't actually get that reliable win through, like, a 1v1, then what do they have? They have to team fight, and that's never been their speciality. So they need to figure out who's gonna push far and win that 1 versus 1. Sizer has been reliably beating their Thief most of the time when I've seen it. So that's what I was assuming they'd do, but for some reason they're doing other things.
And as we saw there too, he just went back to Saizo's point of view, and he actually just got a really nice pistol whip off onto his opponents there, not only taking Guiletta down with it, but also got a nice amount of AoE off onto Kaon Zork too, and with that chain together, managed to take both those down. They combo that. Blueberry had also gone down a couple seconds ago, and now they are going to get a triple stomp here, and more than likely we will see Cheesemo take control of the gate point. However, the question is, will it amount to anything? Because again, the scores are highly in favor of ESL at the moment, and they are less than 75 points away now from taking the first game here. So that really at this point, if they can hold on to one node and maybe get a decap over at far, they're going to be in an extremely okay position and should be able to take this first game.
The fight on beach is very important at this point. Like, if Sizer can kill Guiletta, that means that they can possibly snowball onto mine. But it seems like Guiletta managed to get away, and this is not working out well for them. There's going to be a decap on mid, and that's game.
Indeed. As we go back over here to the mine fight, though, seeing what else is going on, Rom is getting very low here. He may end up getting taken down again. They will manage to knock him out. There was a lot of Conti pressure coming on him from the Necromancer as well. He had been very low to begin with when we came on to this point. Kaon Zork will execute him there with a stomp. Not sure if he popped stability in order to do that, but I think he actually got him out manually there, so they did manage to take Rom down. Blueberry at the same time has gone down the side of ESL. They'll bring him right back up into the game. Again, we're currently looking at Kaon Zork's point of view, but we're now going to swap over to Eternal Aya's point of view now. Watching again as Red Team fighting desperately to hold on to this node. The two thieves are fighting over at middle. That's going to be very important indeed, but now we're going to have to see, because again, there's less than 40.
They're winning the fight.
Well, I mean, they got to hold on to it, man.
They're winning it.
We're hyping up the match, man. You don't kill the hype.
Okay.
You don't kill the hype.
My bad.
As we go back over to the mid fight, we can see
Guiletta is desperately capping Hench. He's desperately getting the cap off. Look at him. Look at him. Well done, Guiletta. Oh, come on. The cold sweat probably running down his cheeks right now.
As we go back over to the mine again, it's less than 20 points away now from seeing ESL take the first game here. They've almost got things, guys, and more than likely, again, as they do have pretty dominant control of this fight now, we are probably going to see a first game victory going into the favor of ESL that'll bring them up 1-0 and put them one game away from moving on to the next round of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the staple of CM strategy is not actually happening at all, and that's a really bad thing. Like, that's, for example, I enjoy playing... every single roster that I play in will always want to play for team fights. If we all of a sudden lost our team fights, that would essentially put us in a terrible position. And this is what's happening to CM. They're not winning their skirmishes. They did win the original team fight at the start, but that was due to some pretty heavy misplays to begin with. For example, the Necromancer got stomped out behind Keep. He could have ran up to the high ground and gotten arrested by a Spirit, and then the fight would have gone on. And I'd even tilt the advantage to ESL at that point. But even though they got such a powerful start, it didn't work out well at all for them in the end for CM. They need to start winning the skirmishes. Like, I don't know why Rom's pushing far with his Conde War, for example. I don't know what will beat him 1v1. Like, I haven't actually paid close enough attention at these, but I don't think Rom or Sizer should have too many difficulties if they push far. So I'm not sure why there's been like this. I should add, however, that this map has always been the map where CM's been pretty weak. Like, it's their worst map. Forest, that is. Legacy is a map they're much stronger on. So we'll have to see where it goes from there.
So things that we'll see different on this map, what do you think we'll end up seeing?
Well, I mean, in the end, we'll have to see what happens. But I'm not quite sure why they went for the team fight with their composition. I mean, it's perhaps that they felt confident in the fact that, like, they're double warrior and all that stuff, and on the small points of keep and all that stuff, they want to, like, utilize their AoE, like, and pistol whip and all that. But well, I think at this point they're still gonna push for the 3 cap. We might see, like, a very common thing that happened before was that Frey and Rom pushed far at the start and stuff. I'm not sure if that'll happen now. What I do personally is that I'd send just one of our reliable 1v1ers, to just push far basically constantly and out-rotate from there, because CM is very, very fast and strong with rotations. Like, that's what they do really well. They know how to rotate, simple as that. Like, if you watch their stream when they're in team queuing, it's like somebody's getting intercepted or something, then it's instant rotation. Like, they send in the right player at the right time and they try to keep the rotations up. That's what makes them so good. So that's what they should go for the 3 cap rather than just team fighting, which, like I said, never been their speciality.
All right. Well, again, guys, we are going to get started with the next matchup between ESL and Cheese Mode in just a second. Once again, ESL is up 1-0, so if they do take this map as well, they will move on to the next round and eliminate Cheese Mode from the tournament here in the first round today. And again, just going over some stuff here for the map. For those of you that may be newer to Guild Wars 2, we're just going to glance over some of the details real quick. As usual, it is a 3-point capture map for Conquest. We have 1 point spawning close to each team's spawn. For instance, we have the Waterfall, which will be blue team's spawn home, or which will be blue team's home node, and as well we have the Quarry node over here spawning close to red team, which is going to act as their home node. And then we also have the Graveyard over at middle, which Graveyard's a little bit different from other points on other maps because it is the largest point in the game, which makes it very hard to take because it can be so easily reinforced by your opponents, and as well, it's extremely easy to kite around on this point too. So fairly often, if teams are tanky enough, we do end up seeing that point never get taken until about like the 8, sometimes the 5-minute mark in the game. And in addition to that, as with all Guild Wars 2 maps, there is a secondary objective to consider on this map. It is the Lord, which will spawn in each team's base. Blue team's Lord will spawn right here in this area, and I'm pinging it on the map right now, and as well, red team's Lord will spawn over here in this area, again, being pinged on the map at the moment. If you manage to kill your opponent's Lord, that'll net you 150 points. So if you are at 350 points or later, killing that Lord will automatically win the game for you, and we have seen it in the past multiple times where we have seen rush plays, both teams going for that Lord, and it can be really crazy and really awesome. Helsa, do you think we'll see that today, or do you think it'll just be normal Conquest being played here?
I mean, with the meta having evolved in the way it is, I think the Lord plays have gotten much stronger. With that, I mean, like, I recall last time I met, what was it, 55 HP monks last time I was playing ESL, and it was on this map, and like, we got 227 points or something with the time ticking out. This means, I mean, basically teams rarely even get 300 points at this point because there's so much neutralization and such. And if it is that, then that means that 150 points is literally huge because you'll just win off the timer. So you don't actually, like that barrier that used to exist where it's like 350 and we go Lord, that doesn't even exist anymore. So what could be possible, I'm not saying this is going to happen now, obviously not, but what I'm just saying is an interesting meta idea that might be exploited sometime in the future is that somebody's just constantly harassing Lord, because that 150 points will like be enough to win the game just based off the neutralized position of the game. Now, will we have a Lord play this game? Well, it's always situational, always. I'll just say that neither composition is a composition where you want to push Lord like all that heavy with, because I mean they can kill the Lord really quickly, but they're not very mobile, and
yeah.
I'd say that if anyone would want to kill Lord, it's ESL. But.
Well, all right. And again, we are just waiting at the moment. I think somebody from Cheese Mode had to go fix internet issues or something like that, so he should be returning in just a second. But while we're waiting, we're just going to go over the actual build details really quickly. Again, checking out over here on ESL at the moment, Eternal Eye is on Necromancer. He's running with 6 Runes of Lissa, as well as a Scepter with an offhand Warhorn, Staff, as in addition to a Rabbit Ant with a Settler's Jewel, and the traits being 30-20, 0-0-20, and that Warhorn will probably get swapped out to Dagger, correct, once the game starts?
Not necessarily. Plenty of Necros run that too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. He's not running traits for it or anything, though. I don't know. We'll have to see when the game starts. Could be Warren, could be Dagger.
Yeah, obviously his utilities are different now, but there's a trick with Necromancer where you summon minions at the start and then switch your utility and you'll start with some Life Force. The utilities that he normally runs is Corrupt Boon, Signet of Spite, and Worm. Worm, in order to, like, if you're being trained, you can teleport away. Signet of Spite to LOL, dead. And Corrupt Boon is, like, what makes Necro so good, because you can counter stability, which there's no real hard counter to stability. Obviously Boon Rip is good, but there's like, if a Guardian is stomping and he has stability up, there's not much you can do most of the time. But Necromancer's unblockable, Corrupt Boon, and you just fear away the Guardian, and that can also kill Guardian most of the time. So that's what makes one of the things that makes Necro so really good, is that they can really punish Guardians.
Alright, speaking of Guardians, Kaon Zork over here is going to be playing Bunker Guardian for the red team. He's running with 6 Runes of the Soldier, as well as a Staff, Mace with an offhand focus, Clarkson with a Barbarian's Jewel, and the traits are going to be standard EU, running 0-5, 30-35 with triple shouts, as well as renewed focus and shelter. Again, most people are aware of this build, but Helseth, do you want to enlighten us on the specifics of it?
Wait, which one of the builds? Because I was going into another thought.
Kaon Zork's build, Tage's build.
Yeah, this is the build Tage made because he hates everybody that plays power. Essentially, you get massive healing from altruistic healing. You have a trait that gives you might when you block attacks, and just that alone, like if you have the focus shield, for example, and people attack you, you get so much might, and that translates into healing. Essentially, if the Guardian plays well, he's gonna be able to sustain himself with his blocks and his shelter, and basically never needs to actually use his shouts or his other cooldowns for himself, and he can rather use those cooldowns to support the team. So it's extremely efficient at surviving, and thus can support the team. What it lacks in, and that's what I was going to get into, is it's not as good at cleansing conditions. It's not as good with the whole condition cleansing and such. You could go 30 in virtues for that, since then you'd have another condict cleanse and stuff like that. And that's what I would assume that Frey would be playing, because there's a Necromancer and a Spirit Ranger. Like that combo enough. That combo is enough for you to want to go Condi, well, anti-Condi. But Frey's still running with altruistic healing, which I think is just inferior in just about every single regard. But if they get into the proper rotation that they'd like to, for example, Frey is in some skirmish with a warrior and a thief, then obviously this is going to be extremely good.
Alright, and as well, checking out some of the other builds here, going over... Let's check out Rom, actually, because I think there's a lot of NA players who may not recognize this build.
I'm not looking at Condi Warrior. We're not doing it.
Why not?
No.
No. Why don't you explain to us why not, Helseth?
I duel every now and then. I've dueled Rom. This matchup. He puts down the bow F1, right?
Yes.
I've lost the duel. I've been outplayed. There's nothing I can do at that point. My shatters die. They die before they can shatter on him, because they just die to the Condi. He has so much healing. He hits me with one. Blue.
You just can't handle it, man. You just can't handle it.
Listen. He hits me with one impale, and I'm dead. I'm dead, Blue. No, we're not looking at Condi Warrior. We're not. We can look at Frey some more. So basically, he's a guardian. He'll heal stuff.
Frey running the same build?
I don't care.
Frey's running the exact same build.
Yeah, that's good. We can go over it again. So basically, it's altruistic healing, yeah? It's not Condi Warrior.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know.
Okay, so Rom's build. He's running with 6 runes of Lissa, as well as mace with an offhand sword, in addition to a longbow with a Charon Emblem and a Charon Jewel. The traits are going to be 20-0, 20-0, 30, and he's making use of Berserker Stance, Endure Pain, and Balance Stance. Now guys, the game is finally getting started. Just something to note before we go into this too, we didn't really touch on that earlier, is the fact that the previous time these two teams met on this map, we did see ESL force a GG on Cheese Mode at 300 points into the game.
Cheese Mode. That was like scrub mode.
You think that's not going to happen here?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think it is either. I just wanted to touch on that detail real quick.
Yeah. The Cheese Mode was clearly on off day. Like they had probably not seen a picture of me or something. Interesting to note is that they're still not pushing far, but yeah, we'll have to see where that goes.
So I think
Cheese Mode heavily protected their close.
Yeah, I think both teams were kind of expecting like an all-in on the far nodes again, and neither team did it. So it was just kind of an awkward moment there at the home nodes.
Frey is capping close. Interesting to have the Guardian capping close, because if a Thief had been pushing far, that would mean that a Guardian would have been stuck on home node, and you never want that. So it was kind of risky.
They kind of
same happens with the other Guardian. Oh my god, this meta.
They kind of did that last game too, though. I noticed that as well. That Cheese Mode didn't actually send Freylina to mid at the start. They sent I think they sent their Warrior to mid, if I remember correctly. It might have been ESL that had done that. But yeah, it was just an interesting thing I noticed, because normally, like, just in the past, like since forever ago, it's always been Guardian goes to mid, no contesting that. But all of a sudden, it's just obviously that's not happening here.
ESL is having a lot of troubles in mid right now. The Warriors caught, and the Rangers used their Spirit already for self-sustain, and the Necro is now down. This is not working out. They'll have to start splitting, and yes, they already are. Gullet is pushing to Waterfall, and they'll have to go for that, because they've already kind of lost this fight. The Necro needs to use the high grounds a lot more. He keeps getting... I keep saying the Necro, which is probably not the proper way to cast, but... yeah, it's constantly being caught in the lower grounds. You should always just jump... Wait, we have a DC? Is that why?
Eternal DC'd. I noticed. We were looking at him when it happened.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense with maybe how he was caught down there then, because he was just standing still when they trained him.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue the cast until an admin tells us otherwise. So anyway, taking a look at what's going on over here at the waterfall, we have Guiletta. And there we go. Okay, well, going back over here to the waterfall, we see Sizer versus Guiletta over here. Sizer doing a nice job versus Guiletta again, bringing down to about 60% health. This will probably be going on for quite some time. So we're actually going to go check back over here on the mid and see what is happening. It does look like Cheese Mode does have control of the fight, but again, it's legacy middle, and it could flip things, and it could be held in contention for an indefinite amount of time.
Blue. You said that we'd gone for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
What's happening at waterfall?
I'm sorry. I apologize. My liege. Sizer did win the duel over there, and he is going to get control of the waterfall. Going back over to the graveyard as well, we can see that Kaon Zork is getting taken down by members of Cheese Mode once again. And if we don't see any more reinforcements coming into play there from ESL, this point as well will go into the favor of Cheese Mode, and they will have a fairly early middle cap to start off over here. And for the timing, it does look like anyone's coming. We do have the Ranger on his way, Elvinia, but is getting held back there by Azron. So I do think that the cap is going to end up going into Cheese Mode there for a very early cap at graveyard.
There's a losing fight for ESL on Corey. The Necro was he got caught very oddly. Like, he used his Plague because he thought he would be 1v1ing with Rom, and then Blueberry came in, so he left the Plague, only to get instantly trained down by Rom. But it seems they've gotten the rest off and they're pretty much fine now, so what they'll probably do is they'll secure Quarry and then push on to other nodes.
And it looks like that is what they're doing. They got Quarry up in there. They got Quarry under their control. They are moving on to mid now. They did manage to trap Rom a little bit there, but it looks like he's okay. Freeland has managed to fall back and is basically in a safe spot now. He'll be able to get back on mid. Rom actually got Corrupt Boon there, so he is going to be in a very low state of health. He's trying to keep himself alive, but I do think he's going to end up going down. He is in the presence of a teammates, however, so there is a pretty strong chance that they get him back up into the game, and actually has managed to get away from the majority of red team members now. Still, again, if we see some burst go off on him or something, there's still a fairly high chance. Pin down went onto him. Oh, and there we go. Rom has gone down, and we're going to have to see if he'll get stomped out right now. We do see the double res coming off. It looks like they'll be able to get him back up. Freelina took quite a bit of damage in the process there, but overall, I think for the timing, Cheese Mode is going to be in an okay spot. Helsa, what were you trying to say there? Apologies.
Yeah, this is not good for ESL. They're overextending. They had not even gotten out of the combat yet, and they heavily pushed in, and not to mention that Guleda had died. So they should have been more patient or tried to do something more. But surging into the midpoint, you're never going to win it, and now you're stuck in a fight. Like, they can't really disengage this fight, especially the Necromancer. So now they're committed into this, and they're stuck in the same split as before, where Guleda is going into the 1v1, and this time it's versus Rom, which is still a losing matchup. So this is not
basically
working out well.
Basically what you're saying is they got like way too greedy there and ended up pushing to mid when they shouldn't have just tried to regroup a little bit more.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have pushed into mid. They could have pushed into far or something. But and also, they could have tried, like, yeah, when Guleda died, they should have tried to realize what they wanted to do. Pushing far and having Guleda cover for close point on respawn is, for example, one thing they could have done. But everybody pushing into mid and Guleda pushing into far, that means they're 4v5ing on mid for a while. Because Cheese Mode has 5 members there, right? So they're 4v5 there. And Guleda is respawning, and he'll have to solo something. So they're in an inferior fight on mid, and Guleda will have to deal with, like, well, potentially respawns and stuff. Like, there's no way that was a good rotation. Rather, pushing far and having your thief cover close, because that means if Cheese Mode would have pushed 5 to the close point, that means Guleda could have obviously free capped mid, which means Cheese Mode would have been forced to have one player remaining on the middle point, and they could have 4v4'd, which is more to their forte. Right. This is quickly spiraling out of their control now.
Yeah, you can really see that coming into play here too. I do want to mention that I believe there is some lag coming into play here. Just wanted to mention that. But anyway, as we go back into the fights themselves, Blueberry as well as Elvinia have managed to take down Freelina. Granted, it took quite a bit of time to do that. They also had Sizer over there fighting, but Sizer had been taken down. And once again, ESL will now be taking back control of their home node. It took them about 2 to 3 minutes to do that. And in the meantime, Blue has had a solid control of middle and has been pushing up their score. The current scores themselves are now 118 to 250 with Cheese Mode holding the league and holding the lead rather, and looking pretty confident to tie this setup now at 1-1 and push us into a game 3.
Wait. How did Frey die to a warrior? What happened there?
It was 2v1.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I was looking at the mirror.
As we go back into mid itself, though, you can see that ESL is making a solid push into here. They have managed to take Zapdos down. However, I believe he's in stealth at the moment, and they actually will get him back up with the Spirit Res there once again, bringing him back up into the fight and keeping Cheese Mode at full strength. They are going to chase Blueberry. Zapdos will chase Blueberry at least, and the continue to pressure the red team members over here in middle now as ESL tries their hardest to take back control of the graveyard. Now, Helsa, do you think, again, that they should be pushing mid right now, or should they try to be sneaking around and going for far at this point?
It's honestly, it's very hard to say at this point because Cheese Mode's composition is so good at holding points. Like, at this point, you don't really know what to do. Like, you're in this weird position where you're not sure what to do. And I don't think there is a real definite answer because, well, really, like, pushing it, they should probably have, like, pushing into Waterfall. But then again, Waterfall is also extremely hard to cap. It's not just Graveyard on this map. The easiest point on this map by far to cap is Quarry. Waterfall is extremely hard to cap, so, you know, 4 to Waterfall and then having their Thief do something. Or potentially, maybe they should, like, try to do something weird and hope that they get Sizer in a fight on Waterfall, and then try to somehow outroam them. Perhaps sending 5 to Waterfall, only to make the Guardian leave mid, and then try to free cap mid. You know, something to throw them off. But, like, if you just assume normal play from this point, you're not winning. Like, it's like playing a chess game and you don't have a rook all of a sudden. Like, at this point, you have to do something amazing, or your opponent has to be psyched out of it for you to win.
Yeah. Alright. Well, anyway, as we go back over here to the mid-fight once again, we can see that Red Team is still pushing. They have managed to take out Rom, but again, Cheese Mode is getting reinforces in here when they need to. They're not really at any risk of losing this fight, and they've actually got Guiletta down to a fairly low state of health, too, Sally 8 on that regard. And overall, again, just the matter of the fact that they can constantly keep pulling reinforcements into this fight is going to be at a serious disadvantage for ESL now, because it just seems to me like just ESL just doesn't really have the damage to kill people fast enough here at mid. I mean, can you sympathize with that, or is there something else going on here?
You could run 5 thieves. You don't have enough damage still. There is never enough damage to kill this composition on mid.
Well, what makes their composition so tanky? Like overall, like what are the main components that's making it so tanky?
Everything. There isn't a single. The thing with when you face CM is there isn't a single target. There isn't anyone when you're like for example. I'm actually gonna be nice and say his name this time. Etheria. He's being trained all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, they don't even call him, like, get the necro or something. They're just saying, like, kill our piece of food or something. Like, I don't even know. But what I'm saying is, the necro monster is dying all the time because they know that they can kill him. But you don't know who to kill on CM's comp. Do you kill the warrior? No? Alright, well, that's fine. How about you focus the other warrior? No? Alright, then how about you focus the thief that's like teleporting, evading, and stealthing all over the place? That's not a target you want to kill either. And even if you do manage to kill the thief, which is probably what you can kill the easiest, even though it's really hard, that's still somebody who's so ridiculously mobile that when he respawns, he can get back to mid in basically no time, before it's even over.
So even if you did manage to kill the thief, there'd be like no snowball at all.
Yeah, and then there's...
It's like, at least on this map, you would just like accomplish nothing by killing the thief, because...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's a Spirit Ranger, again, not a target you want to focus, and there's a Guardian. Who do you focus out of this composition? Literally nobody. Like, it's easier in a team fight, because in a team fight, they'll eventually go down together if you AoE them and stuff. But, like when they're focusing on holding a node, then this is like fighting 5 bunkers. It's not fun. Because, no, it's not fun.
Alright guys, well you just saw it right there. Cheese Mode is going to take round 2, doing much better this time than compared to their last engagement versus ESL on this map, and they will be winning this one 203 to 500 points. Top scorer was Sizer over here on the side of Cheese Mode with 150
care about
points.
glory?
I don't know, man.
Alright, let's look at these
I'm
top
filling
lists.
time.
150 points.
Well, I mean, it does. Listen.
Unfortunately,
Hold on.
Sizer's not on the level of the Skyhammer cannon players and Trebuchet users. Hopefully, Sizer, you can get into the gym and practice
It does say something. It does say something. The overall scores, okay? Like, if you just look at them generally speaking, they do actually help. So, like, Cyrif and I have noticed this. They do help to determine which teams have, generally speaking, been winning more fights and whatnot. Because the team with more personal score and whatnot generally is the team that has been doing that more throughout the course of the game. Like, we've seen times where we'll, like, see a team win, and then the other team will just have so much more personal score that, like, we'll be like, how did they win? But then we'll realize, oh, they were just out-rotating them like crazy. That's why they won. And, you know, it's just something to note. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
I like to touch on it sometimes.
I just like to say that sometimes when I hot join, there's people with 400 glory. Hopefully they'll get into this ESL Cup. We can have some people that truly knows how to win
I used
fights.
it in the incorrect context, and I am sorry. But it does have its uses. I'm going to have to disagree with you on the fact that it's useless.
No, I'm not saying it's useless. I'm just saying that you said Sizer has top glories commentary.
I know.
That's
well,
all
I shouldn't have said.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Alright guys, well round 3 is going to get started fairly shortly now. As you can see, we are on the Battle of Kylo now. The set is tied up at 1-1. Helseth, what do you think of this map?
Kylo? This is a map. Well, I mean, I enjoy this map because this is a map where Mesmer is actually pretty good. But basically, this is a map where teleporting is ridiculous on this map because you can get from basically windmill to mid in a span of like the difference of a ranger rotating from windmill to mid and a thief doing it. A thief can do it in like 6 seconds, something like that. Something absolutely preposterous like that. A thief can do it, which means that this is a map where there's so much splitting, and not only that, but you can't really defend nodes reliably on this map. Like you can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stand on windmill all the time, because then you're just heavily outnumbered, and it's so hard to defend nodes, basically, is what I'm trying to say, because you don't know when you can leave your node. Because a thief that's on mid can get to windmill so quickly, and it's completely out of your control. The thief might be on trebuchet, and then he'll go far, and there's like not much you can do about it at all. Which means this is a map which heavily promotes offense. You kill them off, and you win the points, And there will be decaps happening all over the place, but you can just keep winning the points. That's what's happened all the time when you watch these games being played. It's like points are being traded like crazy. It's not like Legacy, where it's like, okay, I'm going to decap a waterfall. Let's keep it that way for 3 games. Like, this is a map where you don't know how the point status is going to be like. And that's one of the fun things about it. The Trebuchet obviously plays a massive role. So it's essentially the bane of the disgusting bunker mode that CM can turn themselves into sometimes. Like, okay, they're 1 mid. That doesn't mean that they have mid for forever, because we can actually treb it. That kind of stuff. Like, trebbing mid and pushing far at the same time, while you're also pushing mid, is an extremely offensive strategy, and it works really well. Like, you can get a 3 cap of that from a losing position. So, it's a fun map. It's a fun map. Shame that it's so much rain, because it sometimes lags me.
So in terms of these 2 teams going up against each other on this map, who do you think is going to win?
It's a lot about the Necro. Like, the Necro has amazing potential on mid, because there's a lot of amazing kiting patterns you can run with, and you have so much, like, whenever you kite as a Necromancer on this map, you'll still be able to reliably do damage on midpoint, which means that the Necromancer can be an extremely powerful tool. On the other hand, on the side nodes, take a look at Windmill or Mansion. Where exactly do you kite? No.
Yeah.
Not many places at all, which means they're kind of forced to play on mid. But that's not necessarily bad. It just means
you can sort of use the little things on the side over here, but overall those are still going to be like absolutely no use to you.
The thing is, warriors can, like, you can stand on the high ground there, and the warriors can hit you because they can just do Earthshake from below or something, stuff like that. The same applies to Thief. He'll obviously just port onto you. There are spots on the clock tower where the Thief can't port onto you, or the warriors obviously can't hit you. So it's a much better spot for the Necromancer. But I can't really say advantage to X, because this is a map where you can literally go either way.
All right.
So I mean, that's fun.
It is fun indeed to go into this.
A lot depends on how they play. Like, they can't really go for the side point strategy much.
And why is that? Just because of how much harder it is to like, try and get around the map, or
the Necromancer will be trained extremely heavily, and also he's not mobile enough to pull well rotations off.
All right. We're going to have to see, guys, again, because this matchup is going to be getting started very shortly. We are just waiting for the ready-ups on both sides, and as soon as they do come into play, we will be getting started once again. But Helseth...
I should add one final note, is that if they have an advantage, ESL that is, they have an extremely safe rotation with the Necromancer, though, because you can have a worm, essentially in the high ground on close. You can leave from mid to close extremely quickly, and supports. So, if ESL manages to secure a 2 cap, they'll be in a good position.
All right. So going back to Rom for a second here.
Yes.
Would you like to take us through specifics of his build?
No.
Why would you not? Would you?
No, you can ask Jebro. You can ask Jebro. He'll probably call it a bunker NG.
Would you like to explain to us why you don't want to go over the specifics, and why you think it should be gone over? Just enlighten us a little bit.
Blue, listen. I'm clearly saying no. I have a right to refuse.
You're gonna plead the fifth?
Oh, all right. Basically, the problem with facing Condi Warrior is that the damage is practically unavoidable, especially on Asura. By the way, ban Asura, people. Like, you have a poll there. Vote for it. The thing with the Condi Warrior is extremely hard to avoid the damage. For example, he does his bow F1, right? That covers the entire point. Does massive burn damage. You can't avoid it at all. The same applies to, like, Pommel Bash. It puts a confusion on you, lasts for a long time, and it's like you can't really do anything about it. Impale. If you get hit by Impale, well, if you don't, like, Impale is so mean.
Yeah.
Impale is so mean. Like, if I get hit by it, I'm dead.
Impale, for those who aren't aware, by the way, who don't know what that ability does, it is going to put an uncleansable, I guess, what would you call that, a debuff, I guess, on you? Yeah, I guess, debuff, I guess. It's going to put an uncleansable debuff on you, which will, over time, stack 5 total stacks of Torment, which really do hurt, especially against squishier classes like Mesmers and Thieves. So if you do manage to get that off, it's just brutal against you.
Yeah, even if you cleanse it, it'll just put another Torment. And like, what do you do? If you stand still, that means that the warrior's going to hit you even more, which you don't like. It's so good for 1v1s because it's basically not up to you. It's sometimes, unfortunately, it's a lot about luck. Like, you don't really get to pick if you get hit by Impale or not, because it's just so hard to see it, especially on ROMs, like tiny little Azura. It's so hard to see it that if you get hit by it, it's not up to you. Like you're not like carefully watching it because there's like a burn field that'll. No, I'm done looking at this build. Look at it yourself.
I haven't for quite some time.
No.
Alright guys, well we don't have to look at it any longer if we don't want to, but I'm sure we'll look at it at some point during the match and Hellseth will be, oh no. But anyway guys, here we go. We are getting started right now with the third round of ESL, Erotic Solitude Legends spawning over here on the red side, going up against Cheese Mode, spawning over here on the blue side. We are in the Battle of Kylo, so let's open up the map and check out the splits coming directly out of the gate. We are going to be seeing Zapdos from Cheese Mode make his way over here to the match node. We will also be seeing Ilvinia along with Eternal Lane, Necromancer, and Ranger, in addition to Blueberry coming up a little bit farther behind, going over here to the Windmill for members of ESL. And actually, it seems like this was a correct rotation this time, because there is going to be a 3-man push coming into play from Cheese Mode going over onto the Windmill, so definitely a good intuition there from the side of ESL.
Blue team grabbed the capture point.
It's an interesting position, because they're not going to have the Guardian for this fight, which means they won't have the support. I'm trying to figure out if it's actually horrible or not for them at this point. We'll have to see. Basically, if they manage to get the advantage, they being ESL. Oh, they have a Treb support.
Mm-hmm.
Who has Treb support?
It's Red Team at the moment, yeah. Red
okay,
team.
then Red is in a really good position right now.
Red Team does have the trap support coming into play over here onto this Windmill fight. Blue Team has not opted to use that and instead are pushing the resources onto either middle or that far node, going all in on that with a very aggressive push. They have left Zapdos over here in the middle too to go up against Kaonzork, but overall that fight probably won't go anywhere until the trap comes into play or until more reinforcements come into play over there as well. Back over there at the fight itself, you can see that teams in general, Cheese Mode at least, is fairly spread out, because I think that's because they just want to avoid getting hit by that trap, correct? Yeah, they just don't want to try to get grouped up and get hit by that.
ESL changed up their tactic. They've gone into bunker mode. They don't care about winning this point as much anymore. Rather, they're not even caring about winning the fight. Rather, they're playing completely defensively because CM, when they saw the trebuchet, they realized they have to put one more player into usage, and they left their close point and pushed far. Guleda responded from the trebuchet to just push far, and this is what I meant, where it's so hard to keep your points defended. Like ESL made use of all their players. They had mid contested. They had literally all 3 points contested because a thief on trebuchet is attacking literally every single point of the game, and this is how you saw it in effect, because he just left the trebuchet and got the full cap on Mansion, and they're still contesting. They're still contesting Windmill. The ideal rotation would have been that their Guardian, that guy, pushes back into Windmill and bunkers it ASAP. He should have done that earlier, and they could have rotated someone else into mid. But this is still fine. This is still a good position where they're ticking in points. As long as they don't get wiped at some point now, they're in a really good position.
And as we go back over here to the middle too, there is some fighting going on over at Clock Tower. We do have what appears to be a 2v3 in favor of Cheese Mode at the moment. We are seeing Kaonzork getting very low, and it's looking very good for Cheese Mode to take control at this point with the elimination of Kaon. Only Guileta is going to be available on this point, and Guileta probably won't be able to actually keep things contested for far too long there again. It's going to be very dangerous for a Squishy Thief there to stick on the point. Already rolling off. It's just waiting for more Red Team members to come into play, but it just doesn't seem like anybody's close there. Blueberry will be able to get in here and keep things contested, but that may be at the cost of Guileta's life. Once again, Guileta has gone down. Spider Pet throwing in more poison fields over there now, and we are going to see Guileta again. The resurrection speed on Guileta is going to be greatly reduced because of that, and more stomps coming in. Freyline actually did get pushed off the body there, but overall I think the cleave that has been going on to Guileta's body is going to be enough to see the elimination of the Thief, and once again that will put Blue Team at a slight advantage over here in middle. However, overall, again, things do look like it's pretty heavily in the favor of Cheese Mode, but now with all these reinforcements coming in from ESL2, things could change.
Yeah, they wiped. This is another interesting position that happens in this map in a second. Alright, so they won Windmill. That's why they're able to keep contesting the points. They're struggling in. But notice now, Guileta just respawned, instantly goes on to Treb, and this is one of the other points. You can extremely powerfully defend mid with the Thief. Just when he dies, he can just Treb mid, and you have your bunkers contesting mid. And at this point, it's really hard for CM, especially since we're running 2 warriors and all that stuff. Assuming that you actually hit the Treb, Guileta.
It's Guileta.
Alright, good.
It's actually, you know, it took like 2 to 3 shots there for it to
actually connect on the mid. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. Go hot join in practice. Oh my god, no. Look at you, you're missing. I'm done watching you. Alright. They're still there.
As we check out, guys, action at the Clock Tower at the moment. Cheese Mode has managed to take a full cap here, but again, there is still some heavy trebuchet pressure coming in from both sides now, we should mention. As again, we also see Rom has also gone onto the Blue Team trebuchet and is firing that into middle too. It does seem that Rom's support is being a little bit more effective, but again, while all this...
I'm aborting you. Signal of Spy hit on Mansion. Sicer's dead. Lol. Alright, cool. So there's a 1v1 with the Necro versus Thief, and Signal of Spy hit. But now the Necromancer is being 1v2.
Sizer's not dead.
No, because Rom came in. Zapdos came in, sorry. But look at that, he's still dead, Signet of LOL. Signet of LOL. Signet of LOL! Anyway, it's fine. fine.
Going back, it's only Eternal Eye over here at Mansion, so more than likely, actually, apologies, we are going to see Count Zork coming into play over here as well. So this 2v2 will continue on for a little bit of time. It's actually 3v1 now, I'd like to correct myself there. And it is going more than likely to be going into favor of the ESL over the next few seconds. As we go back over here to the Windmill 2, Rom did sneak as he went off of the blue team Trebuchet. He snuck himself over here to the Windmill and has managed to take a full cap on that too. So for the time being, Cheesemo does have a pretty solid lead. They are probably going to lose control over here of the Mansion once they manage to eliminate Zapdos. Actually, it looks like they pulled a lot of people off that and just want to keep it stalemated for the time being. That may be a mistake though, because again, Sizer will also come over here. A lot of damage will go into Blueberry. Blueberry should be able to take a lot of this. He is tanky Hambo here, who's going to have a lot of natural. He's going to have a lot of natural tankiness, but overall, still will not be able to survive the onslaught of both these guys for too long there. Eternal Eye will now come back in order to assist with that. We did see some CC going off there over on the Zapdos, and that will be leading to more Connies on him too. Well pop his Connie immunity there. Berserker stats. Overall, we're going to have to see Blueberry going to get stunned once again here. I do think we'll see Zapdos end up going down, but again, you do have to realize the assistance from Sizer is still there. He is just waiting for prime opportunity to engage.
There's no way there'll be a res.
Well, yeah, no way there'll be a res, but there may be a sniper kill.
Eternal needs to stay in the fights more. He roams too quickly. Like, a fight isn't over yet, and he leaves it. And like, Necro is one of the very best at finishing a fight, because they have so much pressure that's, like, it stacks up more and more. But he's always the first one to leave. Like, it happened again. He just randomly left Blueberry. Like, stay. Stay. Be a good doggy. Stay.
And anyway, guys, back over here at the mansion itself.
No. Call Sizer. Look at Sizer.
I am that Sizer. That's what I was saying. We're at the mansion. We're at the mansion. Sizer trying to kill Blueberry. We got the fear off. Nicely done. But we're going to see some more support coming in from Zapdos now, too, so that'll basically guarantee the death. Sizer does have to watch out on his health here, too, so he's getting fairly low. He's going to be able to retreat away from this. A Vengeance will come out into play there from Blueberry as they will try to eliminate Zapdos, but overall, I do think his life is forfeit at this point. Sizer will be free to re-engage on Eternal in just a second. There we go. Pistol Whip's coming off, but again, Sizer's also very low. And again, I think he's in a good position here. He should be able to keep himself alive, and more Pistol Whip pressure onto Eternal. We'll take Eternal down. Blueberry will die with the Vengeance expiring, and now we will be seeing, we will be seeing Zapdos left to capture the point.
So basically, yeah, Sizer basically got a 1v2 going on there. I mean that completely changed it. But yeah, the Necromancer needed to stay just for a little bit longer. Just let Blueberry get out of combat, and it would have been perfectly fine. But they won this point like 3 times in a row. Then Eternal left it, and then they got into a hard position. He came back, they won it again, and then he left it, and it happened 3 times. And now they lost the point completely. It was not fortunate at all for them.
And again, the current scores, by the way, guys, it's currently 182 to 138 with Cheese Mode in the lead here. Both teams have 1 capture point. At mid itself, we do see Red Team applying some Trebuchet pressure over onto here, but we're also going to see Rom do the same in just a second as he too is about to mount the Blue Team Trebuchet to fire in the middle. In the midpoint itself, I believe it is apologies, I believe it's 4v2 at the moment, highly in favor of Cheese Mode, and with that collected, they should be able to take control of this point when and if they are able to eliminate Kaon Zork here over the next few minutes.
Yeah, the momentum is heavily in the favor of Cheese Mode right now. It's extremely hard to stop it too. There's a 2v1 going on for Guerrero. He's yeah, so it's this is probably, if he can manage to win this matchup, that would be amazing. But I guess he's not going to go for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Zapdos on Hamboru is putting a lot of pressure on Guiletta, and that is going to force Guiletta to, if not go down here, we did see a missed pin down, I believe, and that will allow Guiletta to be able to get out of here, get out of the way, and then once she has a better health pool, re-engage over here onto middle right now, and it looks like she is going to do that. Jumped onto Freylina, but overall, just still retreating for the time being, going to go underneath the point, and then we'll probably re-engage in just a second. Actually, looks like she may loop back around over to Mansion. I could be wrong on that, though. I think she's actually going back up to middle. But we do have a fight going on right here at the Windmill, too. It's Eternal Eye in a 1v2 up against Azeron, and Rom more than likely is going to lose this one, but did actually get the decap in the meantime, and oh no, this is where Guiletta was headed. Guiletta made her way over here to the Windmill, actually, and is going to be fighting for this. Unfortunately, she came in a bit too late in order to keep Eternal Eye alive. However, as we saw there, we did, oh no, what happened? We had a Shatter, whose Shatterfeature was that? Did you manage to see that? Was that Eternal's? Or was that Guiletta's? Oh, it was Sizer's, apologies.
Sizer came in.
Ah, yes, okay, I thought Guiletta had thrown down the Shatterfeature over there onto Eternal to try to keep alive, but apologies, miscalled that. Anyway, guys, as we do keep on with the fight, we do see it's currently Kaon Zork and Guiletta trying to keep this fight rolling, but overall, Guiletta is highly on the defensive at this point, trying to kite around Azeron as well as Sizer here is going to be kiting around Freylina in just a second too, and on the note itself, Rom is trying to take down Kaon Zork. We did see the elimination of Azeron as well. We're also going to see Eternal Eye coming in to support this fight, but it does look like Cheese Mode should be able to hold on to the fight over here and get control of the Windmill point back, but things could change very quickly depending on how much damage Guiletta is able to do over here, and unfortunately Guiletta is going to go down, and with that I think this fight should go into favor of Cheese Mode. But they're actually putting a lot more people onto this node too now, so they may just be throwing everybody on here to extend it. They may be overexerting themselves too. That's something to consider because they have once again, after claiming Clock Tower, they've actually left it empty. Oswell back over here at the mansion once again. Blueberry did win a 1v1 versus Zapdos, so Blueberry will also get control of that node in just a second.
At this point, they would have gotten overwhelmed and Zerg down, but a lot depends on Guleda versus Sizer on mid now. If Guleda can somehow manage to survive this for a while into reinforcements, they're back in the game. But if they get overwhelmed now, it's basically impossible for them to come back.
They've got the Spirit Ranger on mid, so there is going to be a lot of support coming in from there. Guiletta is very low, but I think he just managed to skirt death. Nope, will still go down there. Sizer will take Guiletta down.
Spirit.
Yep, there we go. It's nicely done with the Spirit.
Right. Right, so they're back in the game completely now. Blueberry winning his 1v1 versus Zapdos completely saved them. At that point, they were getting completely overwhelmed, but since they managed to win a point basically for free through a 1v1, they're completely back now. But Blueberry is being 1v3'd now on Mansion, so the proper rotation needs to be done. And it's being done.
And as we see as well, we retaliate for the 1v3 over here at Mansion. We are going to see Elvinia falling back. Unfortunately, Elvinia does not have the Spirit Will. We'll have to attempt to manualize, but unfortunately, Pistol Whip pressure, among other things, will prove to be too much in order to get Blueberry back up in the game. And now it's
What's with this team and the Trebuchet? It's not hard to hit it. Alright, so Eternia is trebbing Mansion, but he's not trebbing Mansion because he's missing the shot.
You're so mad.
I don't get it.
It's calm down.
I don't get
it's
it.
Okay, man.
You're pressing 2.
It's
You're
okay.
literally just pressing 2.
It's okay.
It's basically Thief, but 3. Ah, no. That's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine.
As we go over here to the windmill again, there is Rama versus Guiletta, but Guiletta is going to be assisted by Blueberry in just a second, who did just spawn after being eliminated over at the mansion. Guiletta versus Blueberry. Blueberry is starting to get DK pressure, but again, with Rama over here, and Guiletta actually being very low. Guiletta, again, there's the power of Impale right there. 5 stacks of Torment. It's actually going to be close. Oh! But actually, as we saw there, managed to cleanse the Torment stacks, but got hit there by one of the longbow abilities that Ram threw out and took Guiletta down. Thankfully, though, because it's 1v3, they were able to get Guiletta back up into the game still, and we will see the elimination of Rom coming into play right now. Freylina will rotate over to here now, hopefully keeping things in favor for the blue team. And actually, the res over there, or the stunt that was going off on Rom, was interrupted by that too. We will see an Earthshaker coming out there from Blueberry to interrupt the resurrection, but we're going to have to see Guiletta or someone do some damage on the Rom, and it will not be happening. So Rom is still going to be alive, and Cheesewood will still keep the fight going over here at Windmill, and they're not going to turn things right back around on Guiletta. Guiletta now has gone down. Freylina getting the stop off of Guiletta. Blueberry is very low. We have trap pressure coming in from the red team over here onto the Windmill, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point. Blueberry is also going to get knocked out, leaving only Elvinia here. Guys, there's a 3 cap in favor for Cheese Mode. They have just absolutely come back into the game, and or rather, they've kept their lead in the game here, and it looks like they're going to be winning this game with this last fight over here at the Windmill.
Yeah, at this point, they managed to secure it.
So what happened at that fight there? Because that looked like it was going to go in ESL's favor for quite some time, but all of a sudden things really just turned around.
Yeah, that happened. You could sum up the entire game with that. Like, ESL kept having amazing advantages, and then somehow, some way, they got spoiled in some fashion. And it just happened over and over again. Like, so many fights that were completely won, and then somebody rotated too early, or somebody did a misplay, and then, you know, a 1v2 happens, or something like that. And also, Trebuchet. I don't know if there's like been some patch that makes the Trebuchet impossible to hit.
Okay, so yeah, like talking about that, there's a couple things to consider. First of all, players have been complaining about lag for some time, so that could have been it, because the lag does really actually,
definitely.
like the lag is horrible for the Treb. If you're getting like more than 200 ms lag, it's like impossible to aim that thing.
Yeah,
and
I mean, if that was it, yeah, sure.
Because I know that ESL had been complaining about lag for some point, for quite a bit actually in today's set, so that could have been a tribute to that. But again, if it was actually an issue there, that was very unfortunate indeed, because there was quite a few missed trebuchet shots that could have led to one fights for ESL.
Yeah, definitely. And but yeah, like a lot of, I mean, I suggest to ESL that y'all, I mean, it's never fun to go through lost games, but I definitely like go through this game and watch like every single position that you basically had won the game. Like, there's many positions where you had won a fight or won a scenario, and that fight somehow got thrown away. And I mean, this is rather an excellent opportunity to learn and improve, because if you're winning the fights, which you are, then there's a lot of potential there. Like, ESL were winning just about all of the fights, which means if they can fix their rotations and fix these misplays, that means that they would be winning. So go through the videos and study the game tapes, and well, you should win eventually. Just keep trying.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to be the end of this set.